Hey, Gamecock fans, we're back here in Alumni Game. We got part 2 of our preview here, best, worst case. We're going to the other side of the ball for defense. We have covered a bunch of these players in other videos. We'll mention that a few times, but you want to check out some of these players in other videos up top. Check those out. Anything we don't cover, let us know what you want to hear about, more about a certain player, a certain scheme, a certain setup, coach, whatever. But we're going to jump into defense here, and we're going to kind of go best case, worst case. What's the best outcome that could happen for a position group, or the worst, and then kind of bring it all together into a team scheme on the defensive side. But you want to see part 1 and check out offense, check that out. And then this is kind of the other side of the coin. We'll jump right in, I guess, and we'll talk about where every defense kind of starts, the defensive line.
Starts in the trenches, baby.
Yep. So,
you want to lead us off?
Yeah. So, kind of like what we did last time, best case, worst case, we got realistic scoring 1 through 10. And then obviously injury cop-outs, that's a cop-out. Let's try to keep it
not so fast.
Exactly. So obviously, if we're going to start with the defensive line, we're going to probably start with somebody that I think most people know. I'm not sure. He's pretty important. He's pretty amazing. He's pretty elite.
Mr. Sack.
Is Dylan Stewart? Dylan?
What's his name? Who is it?
Dylan.
We're going to talk about first superstar Dylan Stewart.
Yeah.
6'5",
the host of the Daily Show.
He's probably 255. Just an absolute freak with his bend, his speed, his hits ability. Out of Washington D.C., Friendship Collegiate Academy. I don't need to go into any more details because you just got to watch the highlights and see this monster on the field.
Just pushing everybody around.
I think to me the most important part of the D-line is going to be what's happening in the middle. Okay, so we like Dylan Stewart. I think whoever's opposite Dylan Stewart is going to feed because the teams are going to probably try to work away from Dylan. So guys like Brian Thomas Jr., Demon Clowney, cousin of some guy named Jadeveon Clowney.
Some guy. Still a free agent. Incredibly a free agent right now.
He comes from
JT Gear, transfer from Syracuse. Those guys could definitely feed off of what the offenses are going to give them when they try to run away from Dylan Stewart. The most important thing.
You think it's probably Brian Thomas that starts?
It's going to most likely be Brian Thomas with JT Gear, the transfer from Syracuse, backing him up. JT has shown some flashes. He was dealing with some injuries the last couple, so we didn't get to see probably his full potential 100%. And I think he's going to take a next step. And Brian Thomas has shown that he's got a level of consistency and a high motor. So I think for him to get back on the field and assume getting that starting position, I think that's going to pay dividends, and we're going to see some great production out of those guys. But last year we had really good guys up front in Tonka Hemingway, Alex Huntley, TJ Sanders. Those guys are currently playing for NFL teams. So, or at least, at the start, they are, I guess, we're in final cut week. So they have a chance to make those 53-man rosters. We're going to see
littered with NFL talent on the defensive line. I mean, all those guys, the Bengals, the Bills, they're all on NFL rosters.
Yeah. So replacing that production is probably the most important thing, and I think we can do it. We have Monkel Goodwine. He was a transfer out of Alabama a couple years ago. Shown flashes last year. I like his potential. Nick Barrett, big gap plugger. He is a large man. He is around, I think, 6'3", 6'4", 320. So he's a clogger.
Let me take a stab at one, Buster. So just to try.
Stewart just crushed that.
Desmond Umeozulu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Umazulu.
Umazulu.
Desmond Umeozulu, backup defensive end. He's going to probably back up Dylan Stewart this year. He's been in the program for a while. He was lean coming in, but he's got excellent twitch, excellent strength. So it's just getting reps and getting snaps to get better, and that's all you can ask for. So Nick Barrett, Monkel Goodwine, look for them to start the season off the first game against Virginia Tech, manning the two D tackle positions, and then guys that we've talked about on
Oh yeah,
this lovely podcast that we have.
Crocodile.
Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, 5-star
Look at
recruit
that
out of
video right
Texas
up there.
A&M.
Yeah,
Right
watch
there.
that one. That's a good one, folks. Watch that one.
Everything I've heard from camp is he is elite. He is he can potentially live up to that 5-star billing. A lot of people are like, well, why didn't he do that in the previous years? Well, as that video will tell you, you need to go and watch it. We talk about that he had some injuries, and so he fell behind on the depth chart and really just couldn't crack. And I think now, especially having Coach Travian Robertson as his position coach, is going to pay off dividends. And it suffice to say, completely unbiased and reasonable, I think you're going to see his name called a lot this year.
Yeah.
He's
and
huge.
then the other guy,
He's absolutely his wingspan. I mean, absolutely incredible. He is huge. By the way, shout out to Coach Robertson. Wish you a speedy recovery.
Yes.
Glad you're in stable condition, and let's get you back on the field.
Oh yeah, there was some news, a sort of freak car accident, and we're just that stuff happens, but we're hoping that he's okay and that speedy recovery. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Terrible situation there. Thoughts out to Travian and his family. Thoughts out to the other driver. Unfortunately, they passed away.
Oh.
So thinking of their family, but we're glad that Travian is recovering, and we wish a very
and the football family is going to come together to help out
Exactly.
there however they can. Yeah.
And so going back to it, the other guy we talked about, Troy Pikes.
Oof.
I like this guy,
Mr. Pikes.
He's got a long wingspan. I think we're going to see some production out of these guys. Actually, I do want to say this: if you get a chance, listeners, go to Google, type in Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. The guy is solid. He is built like a freaking tank. I'm really excited. Like when this is one of the first years we could say we got like legit SEC, potentially even NFL level size. Not saying production or talent or anything like that, but size wise, they look competitive, and we're going to see what happens this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
But I'm liking that.
And then just going back to some other stuff we've talked about in the offseason, whatever. Coach just doing a great job in the transfer portal. Pike's coming in from Georgia Southern. We talked about that in that episode. And then just some other thing I'm noticing here, guys, just a couple of things like for the future. Some other news has been popping about 2026 commits. We got some freshmen hanging around here that will learn from these guys, right? Jaquavius Dodd and Christian Ingram. These are some guys that, while they may not necessarily have hardcore reps this year, they're going to learn from some of the best. The way a lot of guys we're talking about learned from a buttload of guys that just got drafted earlier this year. So if we start becoming the type of team, all right, we farm them up, we ship them out, they get drafted, they play in the NFL, we got guys right behind who we're learning, we got transfers in right behind that want to up their game from Georgia Southern or Utah State or other schools. And look, I'm going to throw this at you too. We hit you with that news about Faison in that quick video. Look, we're running the ball, we're keeping the ball. Defense gets time to rest, to scheme, to do what they want to do. I mean, we talked a lot about in the offensive half of this, how one affects the other. Well, same thing here. I mean, we're starting with the D-line. That's the core. That's going to be what pushes the front, gets to the quarterback, rushes things, gets that team off book or off script or off timing. But if the offense now is doing what they're doing, and I'm sorry, we knew what Norris was, so we bank on that. We didn't know what the running game. We know we have a running game now. We have a 1, maybe we even have a 1B, or, the pass back right after that, and then backups. We are sustaining drives now, so this defense can sit back for a minute and scheme and rest, and you can think about playing some of these guys on special teams somewhere if you have to, or something like that.
We talk about this a lot, man. I'm sorry, Buster. Let me.
No, you're right. You're right, Sam. Yeah,
we talk about this a lot, right, Buster? You and I are just big on just having big boys in the trenches and having a lot of depth in those positions. You can't have enough defensive linemen. You just can't, especially the way that SEC running backs can run the ball, especially the way quarterbacks can run the ball. You can't have enough defensive linemen, and now we got some big boys in GBD, Crocodile-Dindy, if you will. He's a huge guy. It's going to clog up one or two offensive linemen at a time. He's not going to have stats. This is the guy that's like the glue to the entire defense. He's not going to have the stats that you see from Dylan. Dylan Stewart's going to be the flashy guy. He's going to have the sacks, right? Gear's going to come out over here. He's going to have his sacks as well. But it's all going to start with Brownlow-Dindy and to a lesser degree Troy Pikes. I'm so excited for these transfers. I think they're going to make a huge difference. Pikes actually has some movement in the defensive in the passing game as well, so he could probably get a few sacks. But boy, Brownlow-Dindy is going to clog those holes right in the middle. I could see our run defense being exceptionally good this year.
Yeah, and we're seeing themes here with what coach wants and how he wants to do it too. This isn't just, oh, he's a great player, bring him in, and oh, chemistry-wise, none of it works. These guys are buying into a system. They understand how it's supposed to work. They've seen it work last year, right? This is not a new offense. I mean, granted, we do have a different, a different coaching tree. Obviously, you're good and coaches go, but like the scheme is the same, and they know what they're doing and they've known what they're doing. So, other people have said this, but like we know who we are already. Right, where Virginia Tech does not know who they are yet.
You know what Beamer ball is, man. You know what it is. Everyone knows what it's been for 30 years, 40 years almost, right? Like people know what Beamer ball is. There's no way that that identity is going to change this year.
So we know what we know about this line. Now let's get to brass tacks. Best case, what's happening?
All right, best case, Stewart does what he does. Like we don't need any further explanation. Dylan Stewart does what Dylan Stewart's supposed to do. That opens up the opposite defensive end to be able to make plays because that offense is going to steer away from Dylan Stewart and they're going to go right into the hands of a guy like a guy like Brian Thomas and JT Gear.
And coach knows that already, so he's gaming for that. All right, first quarter, this is what they're doing. We're shutting that down. Then they're going to this. Then we're making them one-dimensional, probably throwing the ball after that, right?
So those two guys do what they're supposed to do. They get the sacks. They come in off the edge. They bend, get to the quarterback. And then the interior, even though they are less experienced, and I get some people worry about drop off in production, but let's say that the depth is there and these guys are getting their reps. Again, like you said, Sam, they don't have to put up sack numbers and this and that. All they have to do is stuff the run and eat up blocks so that the ends and the linebackers can make plays. That's best case scenario. That's executing what a good defensive line, a great defensive line is supposed to do. That's best case scenario. If that's 11, I'm sitting at about an 8, only because the worst case scenario would be, those young guys, they don't have the experience. They miss some execution things. They don't stuff the run like they're supposed to. They don't eat the blocks for the linebackers to come in and make a tackle. I do worry about that, especially early on in the season.
Yeah, I was going to say early, but again, with the schedule, and you can see our first half schedule breakdown too, where basically, between VTech, Vandy, SC State, it feels, I mean, we don't want to overlook anybody, but if you're looking at the way they're picking games now, it really starts getting tighter when we get Missouri and LSU and those. And even then,
that's the test.
And even then, some of those are kind of at 50-50 right now, or like 47. Like, I think I saw the LSU game we have like a 47% chance. You give me that, and we make that kick like we didn't last year, and we got that game. So I'm okay with that.
There's a few things about that LSU game.
Yeah. I know. I'm trying to blaze through that. I'm trying not to think about that. But I would also say, geez, best case sounds entertaining here. You got Dylan John Stewart Daily Show over here, and you got Crocodile-Dindy Down Low over here. That sounds entertaining. I got movies, I got shows, I got sacks, I got pressure, I got havoc. It sounds like we're getting to the ball, and then if that line is able to make them one-dimensional, and then some other position groups we're going to talk about start pressuring and picking and tipping, maybe this defense could start to score. Who knows? And we'll get into those positions in a minute, though. All right, so we said best case, and then you kind of started hinting at worst case. So then worst case would be some of what you said. The young guys aren't gelling. They're not executing quite as well. Maybe because we have a few transfers, they got to learn a little bit more. I'm with you around an 8. I might go a little higher. I mean, we said we might turn it up to 11. I think for this, I would go to a 9. But I think on the low end, I'm not that low. I think the lowest.
The thing is, the low end can actually fluctuate because again, if the low end is based on the youth and just making some fun or technical mistakes,
right? Basically, all the guys that got drafted away,
those are the
right?
things
Those
that
positions
happen early in the season, and we have seen, and it's been proven with Shane and company and the coaching staff that they are good at fixing those kinds of things. They are good at changing those habits. and being able to get those guys reps so that those worst case scenario type things of lapses in play execution
They'll
don't
get
happen.
fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's
like
the worst thing. The worst thing I hate seeing in football is someone making a mistake and then making that same mistake again. I was watching I was obviously watching preseason Giants Patriots, and actually a Giants wide receiver was pissing me off because he kept doing the same thing. He kept pushing off of a guy and then not having his hand to be able to make the catch. And even on the last one where he makes the catch, he still pushed off and didn't learn. Like, he needed to get the push off is fine as long as you don't. It's not bad enough that you get called for it. But if that push off means that your hand isn't there to catch the ball, you're getting paid to catch the ball. You're not getting paid to push off. So those kinds of corrections I need to see in game sometimes, not just from game to game, right? Guy misses an assignment on the D-line early. He's in there later up against the same guy. You better get that assignment at that point, because coach is going to show you.
I think I'll do real quick. So I'm with you on best case. I think 8 is the ceiling. Floor for worst case. I'm going to be a little contrarian here, boys.
4?
I'm gonna go a little lower. Worst case is gonna be a 3 for me. It's gonna be a 3, and then we'll move on to linebacker shortly. And the only reason why is because are we putting too much on Brownlow-Dindy here, right? Like, he's the big run stopper. We got some guys that can get back there on defense. Obviously, I think we both understand. I think all of us understand that the linebackers are probably gonna be really, really special this year.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know if they're the best position group. They're certainly dangerous. Hopefully the worst case scenario doesn't happen. But like we said, we're Carolina fans. We got to prepare for the worst. Let's hope that we're not putting too much on Brownlow-Dindy to clog the middle.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that low. I'm more like a 5 or a 6. But I'm more on that.
You guys, it's a boring show.
Oh, totally. But I'm more on that schedule thing, that there are games early to tune it up, against some competition. Like Virginia Tech feels like it can be a competitive game. I'm not going to say
some dangerous legs of Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
In our previous
SC State, I don't really. I mean, I don't know what that does for us other than tuning up some guys and whatever. But obviously, keep it in state. That's nice. Give SC State a shot. That's great. But I think the schedule is different, and the schedule is front loaded with Missouri or LSU or something. That yes, I'm at 2-3 as a possibility, but I just think with the schedule that gives you a little leash on some of this. But all right, so that's our best case, worst case on the D line. We're gonna move on up, and we're kind of hinting at it into linebackers. We've done a bunch of these guys individually, so you're interested in anyone individually. We don't talk a lot about. That's going to be guys like JR. That's going to be Fred J.R. Johnson, linebacker, sophomore. We got an episode on him. We really like him. We talk a lot about him.
Was it right up there?
Yep. So I'm going to kind of just like hit pause, and you watch that. And you know about JR now, and no, but but we're really enjoying what he's doing. We really feel like he's bringing up this number here. I mean, this number's probably at a 9 or a 10, mostly because of him. Where are we going to right after that, Buster?
That one's easy. This linebacker group, I love it. There is, for whatever drop in production, and we do mention that in New Year, New Monsters again up there. You see, there it is.
Oh, I love that title. Such a good title.
New Year, New Monsters. Look for Fred J.R. Johnson to run the mic. At the will, you're going to probably see Sean Murphy transfer from Florida State. This guy, again, if you can get a chance, pause the video here, Google Sean Murphy, and look at the pipes on that guy. He is built like a tank as well. And I like seeing those two guys, their athleticism and their talent. They're going to make up for the drop in experience from what we had last year. Again, love those guys. Debo, Demetrius Knight, those guys were absolutely.
Yeah, and you want to hear about that, you go way back, you watch our draft episode. We talk about the number of players drafted from South Carolina and how much we lost there and how well Coach has done to restock the cupboard. Not only farm those guys up to get drafted, but then restock the cupboard from there.
So best case scenario is that level of experience, there's not as much drop off because these guys are so uber talented and they've been coached up well this summer and fall camp. I'm going best case scenario. This is going to be 1B. So, all right, little quick thing. I think our secondary is elite. That's going to be my favorite position group in defense. But 1B of my other favorite position group of the defense is going to be the linebackers. I think they're going to make plays, and if the D line does what they're supposed to, you're going to see Fred Johnson, or Fred J.R. Johnson, Sean Murphy, Justin Okoronkwo. Sorry
It's a tough one.
That. It's a tough one. You may even see a couple of our freshmen, A.J. Holloway, Donovan Darden. You're going to see Jerron Willis, more of a thicker linebacker, play maybe in a level where he's able to get more of a pass rush coming from the Sam position, or is it the Will? I can't remember. It's either the Sam or the Will.
You're getting lost in your own terminology.
Yeah. We play a 4-2-5, and then it's the Mike, and I think it's the Will, and then the Sam comes in for like a pass rush type of specialist in certain
Sounds like
formations. But
I'm picturing you with the 1A, 1B, and like setting it all up like you would like your favorite dominoes. Like, all right, this is my favorite domino, and it's going to touch this domino, and then it's going to go down this way, you know? I'm also picturing a low-light video of us pronouncing Orokonkwo throughout the season, you know?
hey, best case scenario, this is an elite position that overcomes some maybe very small minor hiccups early on in the schedule and becomes a dominant force. I'm going with a 10.5.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I thought you might go to 12.
Yeah.
I can't go
6 to
higher
12,
than 11.
huh?
If you look at the amp, it says 11, and it can only go up to 11.
So, I mean, this almost kind of feels like, it feels a little like what we were saying about quarterback on the offensive side, right? Like, we feel really good about it. We know we're deep. We might even be deep for years and years. It almost kind of feels that way here because we're putting in younger guys. They succeed early and in the middle, and we get to where we want to be here at some of these position groups, and we might be good for next year too, you know?
Yeah.
Assuming guys don't get drafted out. But that being said, what would trend you towards a lower end of this, if there is a lower end, you know, outside of injury, obviously, 'cause against the rules?
I'll be the contrarian again. You got all these guys coming into a new scheme, right? I don't know if Fred J.R. Johnson, J.R. Johnson, he was there last year, right? So he'll be fine. I think he's got enough talent. He's got enough time to be with the coaches. But you talk about Sean Murphy, you talk about Justin Okoronkwo, some of these other guys that are coming in. It's a new scheme. They didn't really run this at Florida State and Alabama, right? So that could be, you know, as high as I think, because there's playmakers everywhere. By the way, shout out Sean Murphy, went to Osborne right down the road from where I live right now. So
Nice.
that in Woodbridge, Virginia. But little concerned that maybe it takes a little bit of a learning curve in this new scheme. Buster mentioned there, the 4-2-5. They're not going to be on the field maybe necessarily a lot at the same time. So there's going to be a lot of responsibilities that might be new to these guys.
Good point.
I could see the floor, this being the lowest floor. I don't know, maybe tied with defensive line. Maybe like this could be the lowest floor. I think it's the highest ceiling. I do. I think these guys are all playmakers, top to bottom. The depth is fabulous. We're replacing all these NFL guys like, you know, Bam and Demetrius Knight with that beautiful interception against Clemson. But it's certainly going to be some playmakers all over the field at the middle linebacker position. Worst case scenario, takes a minute to understand the scheme, and we don't have a minute, especially against Missouri and LSU.
Yeah.
So I'll go worst case scenario.
Yeah, and I would just toss in.
I'll say a 3. Worst case scenario is a 3.
Yeah, I'm not going that low. I think I'm more at 4 or 5, but I think my reasoning is a little different. Like, you know, I'm seeing a lot of transfer here, right? Guys like Brandon Sissy from NC State. Obviously, he's from Sumter, so that's great, but he went to NC State first. Just some of the younger guys who might have to put in some snaps, who maybe aren't there yet. You know, I don't know.
JR is going to be the leader on that unit.
100%,
100%. He's looking great in camp. Like he will be fine. It's who steps up second, right? Who's going to be the one that understands the scheme first?
Yeah, no, I get that, and I just think, you know, when I look across the roster, it there's a lot of transfer. There's a lot of there's a lot of bringing guys together that haven't been together before, that have come from other places in different schemes, that are maybe from South Carolina but went somewhere for a bit. Now they're back. They're like, well, I'm from here, but I haven't been played here. So you know, and I mean, at the pro level, when I look at linebackers, sometimes it's like you want to bring people together. Like, I've been hearing a lot in New York about the Giants defense. There's some big names in there that have to come together and play together and share a little bit, you know? So the team element, and as a team unit, playing and not trying to be a superstar early, especially when you don't need to be. This is more of a marathon than it is a sprint, right? So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I think would contribute to a lower end.
Sam, I like your point of it being kind of what we said with the offensive side. It's a fragile floor, which means to me, as high as that ceiling is, there's a potential for that floor to kind of bottom out. Now, I do like the argument that because these guys are new to the scheme, that it's going to take them some time to catch up and understand their roles and stuff like that. I actually think the fragile part of the floor is less about them learning the scheme because, again, Sean Murphy and Justin both came from Power 5 teams, Florida State and Alabama. They've been in those. It's not just Power 5. Like one's from the SEC. One of them was part of a team that went undefeated 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, but Florida State was ridiculously bad last year, right?
Oh, yeah. But the idea
just
is
got to say that.
They've been in a system that requires a level of discipline and aptitude to be able to play and see the field. I think that helps kind of offset some of the potential for the learning curve with a new system. I think the thing that would be not necessarily more likely, but the thing that would give me that low floor of the level 3 would be that because of the weaknesses that potentially could happen at the DL, then these guys don't get a chance to make the plays, and they're kind of running for their lives. Kind of like a couple of years ago when we went 5-7, we did have a 4-star Stone Blanton and a very good Debo Williams, yet they stayed on the field the entire time due to injuries. They were out of position because our D-line could not get the pass rush to pressure, the run-stopping ability, so they had to overextend to make plays, and it put them out of position in kind of more vulnerable positions. That I could see happening more than these guys not being able to pick up the system in time.
Yeah.
So I'm still at a 3, but from a slightly different.
Buster, is there a specific game you're thinking of with that? Because like I'm in my mind, I'm kind of thinking of the bowl game against Illinois, where it just feels like we're getting a little out coached, and that's part of it. Like, is there a specific team that comes to mind for you with that, or even on our upcoming schedule that kind of feels like that's a trap, or that's something that they could do?
It could be a trap in the sense of Missouri's early in the season, so we're still trying to get these guys to play together, and Eli Dorkwitz, their coach, has always had our number.
Yep.
No matter what the year was. I mean, heck, even last year, like the fact that we were up like 21-6 at one point.
Maybe he just knows Beamer ball,
Yeah. So that I don't want to call it a trap game, but I think if you see a place to where it would really emphasize or highlight the potential for our worst case scenario, it'd be a game like that.
Yeah. Missouri, we're going to court, and we got the judge and a jury there, and it's going to get decided. So
I think if we're looking at that worst case being a 3, it's going to come from there, and it's going to be really show its ugly head in a game like Missouri. But
very exploitative.
I see us more on the best case side because I have such a good feeling about these guys' ability, and they are
too much talent. They got too much talent.
Yeah, too much talent. And gelling, feeling like they're already kind of gelling,
They seem to be having fun at practice. All those guys, like on social media and Instagram, they're all like Fred J.R. Johnson as a dog, not just on the field, but on social media. He's hyping these guys up all over on Instagram. Like he generally wants to see these guys. Maybe it's fake, but I don't get that sense from JR. Like he seems like a real dude.
No.
Well, and then on top of that, we had boots on the ground. I know the spring game wasn't televised, but we had our chief reporter there, and he's not going to lie to you. He's fair and imbalanced. So
exactly. Well, the funny thing is, it's not even just the spring game. Like all the talk from what I've heard this summer and into fall camp, Fred J.R. Johnson was one of those quiet leaders where he just did everything by example, doesn't make the same mistake twice. He realized he needed to step up vocally and has done so. And then the other things that I'm hearing from fall camp is that Sean and Justin are doing the exact same thing because they are quote unquote veterans of the game at the Power 5 level. They've taken on that leadership role. So when you have all your linebackers being the leaders of the defense and calling out plays, calling out adjustments, telling everybody where to be, calling out players if they make a mistake, that bodes well with that gelling and being able to minimize some of the inexperience with the scheme. So that's where I'm like, I think I'm more on the best case side. I'm feeling very strong about the best case side. Yeah. And I'm more comfortable saying that we're going to be a 10.5 than we would be a 3.
Yeah. And even then the 3 starts to creep in Missouri. And Cool. And it's funny, the more you say his name full, when you say Fred J.R. Johnson, I keep keep picturing, and this is going to date me a lot, but the show Dallas and Who Shot JR, and he's like walking around the field on top of his helmet like a big 10-gallon hat, like I'm the chief around here, you know.
No. Honestly, he's the first JR that I knew that was not the JR from Dallas.
Right. All right, so moving right along, going down the line, well, away from the defensive line and the linebackers to the next position group, obviously, DBs, defensive backs. We have covered a little bit of this already. I know that's a little bit of a theme in this episode, but hey, we like defense. Defense wins championships. That is the adage through all of football. But go ahead and check out an obvious one here. David Gary Busey from Point Break. No, from sophomore in our defensive backs. We're very high on him. He definitely brings the rankings up here. And we're excited for him. Check out that episode. But go ahead, Buster, and just land us with the DBs in this unit.
All right, so this is overall my favorite unit of the entire football team, offense and defense. These are the guys that I think are going to show up, show out, potentially be ranked very highly in the SEC, maybe top 3. I'm not going to say too much. It's completely unbiased and reasonable. And
some SEC players of the week.
Don't tell me otherwise, but it is led by our boy, senior out of Spring Valley High School here in Columbia, South Carolina, DQ Smith. Fall camp has told us this guy has taken everything that's happened last season and improved on it and gotten better. He is the leader. He's vocal. He's manning the safety position. Now, here's the thing. Everybody was talking about, oh, well, what are you going to have? What are you going to do without Nick Emmanwori? Oh, that guy that got picked high in the draft to the Seattle Seahawks, who's also balling out in OTAs and summer.
Yeah, I'm going to watch some of those games for sure.
Yeah, he's balling out, and I'm liking it. Well, Peyton Williams is coming in and taking his spot. Now, Peyton Williams, obviously, you're getting that drop-off in experience and production. But if anybody watched our bowl game, and yes, it was unfortunate that we did not come out victorious against the Fighting Illini, you did see Peyton Williams show up and take that spot and run with it because Nick Emmanwori left at halftime. That's a whole story. We won't get into that. Peyton Williams came in and did a fantastic job. Great coverage skills, a lot of speed, hits like a ton of bricks. And oh, by the way, who's backing up Peyton Williams in the 2 deep? Our boy, David Gary Busey, the head hunter himself. I'm looking to see him make plays with Peyton Williams. You're going to see those guys on the field a lot. And everything that I've gotten from fall camp, they are making plays in fall camp. They are making a name for themselves. They're making the coaches have a difficult decision to who to put on the field.
Well, it's funny you say that about Peyton Williams because there's just too many goddamn Peytons throughout all of sports that I get to deal with. You know what I mean? Like I just through all of the teams that I root for, I see Peyton Manning in commercials. I see Sean Payton coaching. I see Peyton Pritchard on the Celtics. If your name Peyton, you gotta separate. And your last name's Williams, there's a million fucking Williams. You better fucking separate. But yeah, I mean, looking at him, he's not the biggest. He's not the tallest. 6 foot 209. Maybe he's a little bigger than that now. But that's speed. And then he's coming from the heartland in Texas. So he's trying to make a name for himself on this team.
He knows how to play ball. And that's not even talking about what I'm going to think is going to be the most elite part of this position group, and that's going to be our corners. We got Brandon Cisse, transfer from NC State. Probably, if it's not Peyton, he's going to be probably the other fastest player on this defense. Brandon Cisse is a very quick, very powerful corner that I have heard is very, very, very good at being on an island. And I'm seeing some interceptions in the future from Brandon Cisse.
Yeah, he's even leaner, 6 foot 109, and coming out of Sumter originally. I mean, there is that contingent. You see that a lot. I feel like I even knew fans at South Carolina who were NC State fans. Like a lot of people in state look at to not go to Clemson to go to NC State instead, and then come back is like not the worst thing, But the Wolfpack also not the top of the pack anymore.
Yeah,
so
but don't worry about that. All of that's in the past. That's why he transferred. He wanted
exactly. Yeah.
And that's not even talking about his backup, Kari Swain. Potentially, we saw him in flashes last year. This guy can ball out. An amazing athlete, elite ball skills, elite coverage skills. So it's all about it's not just the talent at the starting position. but we got depth. And we're not even talking about Judge Collier, who had himself a year last year, or another potential top round pick in Jalen Kilgore, or his brother Gerald Kilgore. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a load of talent, a load of athleticism, and a load of depth on this back end. This is the best case scenario. This is where I'm going with 11. We got guys that are balls.
Oh, you were dialed up.
This is my 11. If I got the amp, I'm turning it up to 11. It's going to be loud and it's going to be powerful, and no one's going to be able to stop these guys. Trust me.
What else? What else do you think? Like at an absolute ceiling? Like, are they turning the ball over? Are they like?
Oh, you're gonna get pass breakups. You're gonna get hard hits. You're gonna get turnovers. You're gonna get interceptions. You're gonna get
drive killers.
By the way, David Busey also played wide receiver. Like he can catch. He can catch a lot of balls.
Yeah. I'm transfixed by these highlights right now because I'm imagining it even better than it was.
We got some Jalen Kilgore highlights going on right now, and because he's a beast, and obviously his brother was an excellent Gamecock as well. I'm excited for this group, man. I really am. I'm a little bit higher up on the linebackers than I am, specifically from a talent base. But if you look at this secondary, like they are ready to create a bunch of turnovers. Obviously, Eamon Worry led the team in tackles and interceptions last year. I don't know if we'll have a safety leading the team in tackles. Right. I really think J.R. Johnson's going to be the guy that leads the team in tackles this year. But certainly from the secondary, all of these guys have pick six capabilities because they're all quick, they're all athletic. A lot of them played receiver in high school. Like, I mean, just look at these highlights with Kilgore getting some nice hit-ins. He can play all over.
Jalen Kilgore.
He can play all over the field too. You want to play him at nickelback, play him at nickelback. You want to play him in the slot.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, to kind of jump off from Buster, but you're hitting it, Sam. That like with this amount of depth and the rotation, that you can keep them fresh. It feels like deep in the season when we need it against some of these bigger SEC teams. Alabama, I'm looking at you, and then potentially leaping into a conference championship or a playoff. You're not gassed by then. And you got guys that are beginning to emerge in the middle of the season who as rotational pieces as well. There's a lot of movement here. There's a lot that can be done here. This almost feels like I want the defense on the field. But again, I'm going to go to the running game. The running game keeps sustained drives, gets these guys off the field. They get the ball back. They could fucking shut down quarterbacks. They're going to need SEC quarterbacks are going to have to really shake it off when they turn the ball over, or they're going to grab it from them again. You know,
this is the first time I can think about this program in a long time, probably in about 15 years, where it's like, okay, we're not rebuilding, we're reloading, and there's sustainable talent in every position, and specifically in defensive back, and there's talent coming in. And there's talent coming in next year too, so it's. And
really, in my mind, Sam, that's where the number comes from. You hit it on the head. We hadn't been ranked in 10 years. We hadn't had this talent in 10 years. We're ranked. Like they got it on the number. Like I don't know that 13 is exactly where it's supposed to be, but the way we finished, and you know the teams we lost to. Okay, I get it. Those guys are ranked higher, but
sleeping on us, man. Everyone's sleeping on us.
But the ranking feels like it comes from these two groups: DB, LB, quarterback. And who knows? Maybe that ranking even moves around a little now that Faison's ready to go.
And everyone's sleeping on the wide receivers too. Everyone's sleeping on the wide receivers, and everyone's sleeping on the secondary. You know what? In this pass-heavy game, sleep all you want.
Yeah. Sleep. Please sleep. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
We got the best case right there, right? So is that where you're headed, Mike? Is that what you're getting ready to ask?
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, if that's the case, and you know, one of you were higher on LBs, the other one's higher on DPs. Well, where are we here with this? Are we cranking up to 11, or does it kind of feel like at least early, 9, and then the floor is high at like a 6, maybe? That's kind of what I was going.
Mike, I like that. Yeah, I like that. I want the
floor is the highest out of the entire.
Yeah, the floor is the highest. Yeah. Kind of like with quarterback, the floor is very high.
The floor is high because there's a stability in the sense of because of depth. If anything happens, the depth has a chance to take over. And
even though we aren't opting out for injury can't even come into this party. Like COVID ain't getting in.
The depth is enough that you're not going to see a drop off if you have to sub for getting a breather in the fourth or whatever the case may be. And then 2, the guys that are going to be playmakers, like a Jalen Kilgore, like a DQ Smith, like a Peyton Williams, even David Busey, like these guys are in the system. They played last year. They know what they're doing. There's not going to be a learning curve that is maybe as sharp as like maybe the learning curve for the D tackles, coming in with not as much experience in this system. That's why I think, the worst case, can still happen. There's so many different scenarios that can happen.
Plus, we got some good ass teams on the schedule later. So.
But I think as far as if we're looking at strictly from the potential and expectations of this position group, I don't have a low floor. I'm going 6 or a 7. And that's only because of some wild scenario that could potentially happen, or the teams on our schedule just got 1,000% better in the offseason.
Right. Someone transfers randomly or whatever. But I think the other thing for me, guys, in not in like an all-time perspective, but edging on it. Last year we saw this, and historically as a program, we're like an inch away sometimes. We're just that one play or just that one thing that we were supposed to do, we didn't do. It feels like this is the difference. You're late in the game, and you got to close it out, and you need the defense to do it then. And if they don't, we might lose. This unit's going to do it. You can trust this unit. If it's down to the game and it's on them, they are going to win the game for you. And I just feel like at times as a Carolina fan, Sam, you and I have been to games where, it just feels that way. It's slipping away, and it just feels like with this, it's not slipping away,
Stop the run the ball. That's it.
Yeah.
That's really
all right, so look, we're high on this. We'll go out on a high note. We'll just hit overall here. Let's bring it together. What are we thinking, as a unit, bringing all of these units together as a best case, sort of on a macro level, right? I'm on Google Maps and I'm looking from way up high. Where these things come together, what's the best case for all this stuff gelling together?
I will say this. I really like Clayton White as their DC. Torian Gray has been excellent at developing the secondary. We've seen the last couple seasons, Travian Robertson has shown that he's and Sterling Lucas have gotten that line absurdly ready for football. Like last year, Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart. Coaching staff on par. They're a 10, 10.5, 11. I think the talent level that these guys, the athletic ability of these guys, the fact that the NFL scouts are salivating over a lot of these guys lets me believe that they're more likely to hit the expectations than not. There is still some youth. There is still, I would like to have maybe 1 or 2 guys more on the D line, but that's not enough to steer us off the tracks of meeting the expectations, especially when you have.
No, it's more like a wish list. Yeah.
So overall, I'm going 9.5, 10.
And basically that. And basically that, when these things come together, that, the line's setting the tone, the linebackers are getting it done, the DBs are locking it down, that's all gelling, and we're kind of just executing at the highest level, right?
Yeah.
And that gets us to a 9.5, 10.
Yeah, I don't think chemistry is really going to be this team's problem at all. You can see it like these guys really, really like each other, right? Like you're looking in the summer camps, summer practices, and then obviously stemming from last year, you got Shane Beamer brings in guys that just want to be here, right? It's the old Tomlin saying that you want volunteers, not hostages. I also I'm not gonna go as high as Buster. He is the resident expert. He's our boot on the ground, but I'll give it a solid 7.89 is what I'll give it right there.
Oh, that's reasonable.
7.89, which I think is all we need to do to go to the playoff. Like the offense is going to be Lenore Sellers. I can't hype him up enough, but he's like the team. The offense.
Yeah.
The defense doesn't have to be great, just be good enough. And I really think this is a good enough defense.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Analysis.
Yeah, I'm with that.
That is 100%. I'm down.
And then let's go to the
about defense.
Yeah, and then let's go to the floor. The opposite of everything we've said, right? But I think you guys have mentioned things just like fatigue. Maybe the offense isn't gelling, or I don't know, the wide receivers are dropping passes, or Razul isn't quite the bell cow that we think he is, and that leads to a lot more defensive stops. They're tired. They're playing out of position. We talked about that at some of the groups. Like some of these teams can get us playing out of position. Anything else specific to the schedule or any gaps in recruiting here that maybe lead to something that bring us to the lower end?
Yeah, the three. I think the three keys for the lower end is a tough October schedule. We play some big boys in October, so
Yeah, in a row.
that,
Yeah.
exactly. That's a stressor on the team and team culture, team chemistry, health. All those different things can play a part in that stretch. So that's the key. I think the key is I would like us not to be um, thin and inexperienced at the D tackle position. And then thirdly, just the idea that, things don't work out, through a combination of different things like that.
Yeah.
But those three things have to happen together all at once.
Yeah, like as a perfect storm of whatever.
Exactly. And nothing ever happens in a perfect storm like that, or if it does, it's very rare. So, maybe I would say like
a lot of things for a hurricane to come together. Yeah.
I would say a 3.5, 4, just because if those things do happen, it can spell disaster.
Yeah, I think Coach is going to do better than that, and I would be more at like a 5, 6. But yeah. I hear you. You guys go lower than me because you know how this can go.
Sam, what do you think overall?
You got to prepare for the worst if you're a Carolina fan, man.
It's true. I know.
So I'm going to say the floor is a 3. We don't establish any type of run defense, and that carries over to the pass defense where we're just getting
offense has to make up for all of it. Lenoir's has to do it all himself.
We play a lot of 45 to 42 games. I don't want to see that. So I'm going to say a 3.
All right. So look, guys, that's going to be our defensive side of the ball here. Best case, worst case. You agree, let us know. You disagree, let us know. You watch some of those other videos and we contradict ourselves, please tell us. We'll fix it, try and do better next time. But basically, all of this is going to get to put to the test, and we will make some picks on our next episode when we talk about South Carolina hitting the field against Virginia Tech in Atlanta for week 1. We'll break down that. Sorry?
Football, baby.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ, it's so good. We'll break down that matchup next. We'll definitely do our homework on those Hokies. But we really appreciate you guys sticking around for this. If you are watching the defensive video and you haven't, check out the offensive video. A lot of this is going in tandem here, much like football does. But otherwise, guys, I think that's going to be our latest episode of Alumni.
Yay!
Cox.
All right.